So this is your, obviously, Fight Talk quick fire news. If you're new to the show, I'll say it again. If you're not, you're sick of hearing this. This is where we have 2 minutes to discuss the headlines that we read out. Once the 2 minutes is up, next subject. Example, a champion v champion fight between Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier, with Miocic's heavyweight title up for grabs, is set for UFC 226. With time to digest the news, what's your thoughts on the fight now, Rob?
As I said in the live chat, if you want to go back, we spoke about this at length for about an hour, I'd say. An hour
2
of
hours.
that. Well, yeah. It was about an hour and a half, the whole live stream.
Yeah.
Back then I said that I loved the fight itself. I wasn't sure of the matchup just because of the whole super fight thing, putting a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. But that's probably just me judging a book by its cover. In a way, it was just my immediate reaction. I think after having a chat with you, after looking online, after thinking about it, I think it makes perfect sense. I think there's not really any other fights in those two divisions that you can make. When you actually think about it, there's not really a line of contenders, and this is something that we did speak about. So I like it. I think it's a brilliant fight, brilliant matchup. DC is maybe getting a little bit underestimated by a lot of people right now, I think. I have one point to make, but I'll let you give your thoughts on it really quickly.
I stand behind what I said on Friday evening when we were talking about it. I said that both have cleared out the division in so many ways. Stipe has broke a record. There's no real #1 contender that's screaming, hey, this guy should have a shot.
Yeah.
And that's why I compared it with TJ. I don't like that because TJ has just won his belt and he needs to defend it. Yes, you can argue DC has just won his belt as he was giving it back after Jones. But look, Jones isn't in the game. There's no #1 contender. For me, this is a cracking fight. And I think that both their personalities will also add to the tough household and the tough show.
Yeah, the point I was going to make, and a reason why I think it's weird that so many people are underestimating Daniel Cormier, not just that he was a heavyweight, but let's go back, say, 3 years or 2 years before Daniel Cormier went down to light heavyweight. Daniel Cormier, when you were talking about him fighting a heavyweight, I don't think size was really something that we spoke about. Really, maybe it was something slightly. But even then, if he was fighting someone like Miocic, that's like the last thing we would have spoke about. We would have said, oh, here's actually a decent sized heavyweight for Daniel Cormier.
Exactly,
but now, just because he made the move down, we're like, oh, he might be a bit small.
So look at the bigger guys he's beaten.
Exactly.
Look what he done to Barnett. He literally picked Barnett up over his head and slammed him down.
Bigfoot, loads of people. So it's a weird one. Up next, Ronda Rousey is officially a WWE signed pro wrestler. She made a surprise appearance at Sunday's Royal Rumble event in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She told the media after the event that WWE will be her first priority for the next several years, and that was not a publicity stunt. I know you're not a big pro wrestling fan, but what's your thoughts on the move from Ronda?
It's better than getting the shit kicked out of her like she has in the last couple of fights. Look, she's going to make money. The same way you could tip your hat to McGregor going to boxing, made money. Yes, Conor still staying in a combat sport. For me, WWE has meant nothing since I was, I don't know, 12 years of age.
Back in my day.
But when I was 12 years of age, if you're into it, you're into it. I'm not into it. If Ronda Rousey's going to get paid, fair play to her, because I think our big paydays in mixed martial arts are done. Like if she came back, it'd probably be sold. People would get all hype because of the hype train with Bill. But I think the sport of MMA has passed Ronda Rousey by in its evolution. I think the fighters that are contending now in her weight class, the top 3 women in all the divisions, are completely different fighters to Ronda. Ronda was brilliant when she was what she was, but the sport has caught up with her in a way. The way, if you were to take almost similar to like Stipe Miocic against Ngannou, Ngannou has a certain style of fighting, but the sport evolved to that. If you can't do all facets, you're going to fall on your face, and that's a terrible punt to finish with Ronda. But yeah, you know, head movement is a big thing. But no, I just think, fair play to her in that sense. Me, do I care? Not really.
Yeah, like I don't necessarily care because I'm not going to watch. I'm not a big wrestling guy. I used to be. And I thought it was kind of cool because I watched the video when she came out, and she was wearing Roddy Piper's jacket. It was actually his real jacket. So based on the whole persona.
See, that's when I know who
exactly. So that's kind of cool. It's a nice touch. But I think it's a good move for her. Like I'd say fair play to her. Exactly what you said. Fair play to you. Well done. Nice move.
Well, she's
gonna make.
It's like, in a sense, I suppose it's like somebody going off and becoming a Hollywood star.
Yeah.
Like, so she's going off. She probably will be a star there. They'll play the whole former baddest woman on the planet thing, and it'll probably work for her. But like, again, not into it, so don't really care. UFC London may have its main event, according to MMA Fighting's Ariel Helwani. Michael the Count Bisping could face fellow MMA veteran Sugar Rashad Evans in a rematch at the event. Rashad's coach, Henry Hoops, also posted a photo on social media that Rob broke before a lot of things. You actually put that picture up really quick before everyone else. Credit to you, Robert.
Thank you.
Of upcoming fights, and it also suggested that Rashad will be fighting at the event. No opponent was listed, however. Does this fight make perfect sense?
I actually think it does. Funny enough, I think it makes a lot of sense. They fought before. It was a close one. Rashad Evans, I believe, got a close decision. I think it might have been split, but I'm not sure. Where he just relied, or I suppose he worked his wrestling quite a bit. Since then, Michael Bisping has got a lot better with his wrestling. They're both two guys who are at similar stages in their career, the tail end of their career, especially Michael Bisping, who most likely this is his last outing. So I think it makes perfect sense. I think the Vitor Belfort fight made sense, but I understand why Michael Bisping said he didn't want that fight. I do believe what he said. He doesn't want to go out there knowing he's going to go out as the bad guy almost, even though he's going to be in his hometown, or it's London, so it's home country. But yeah, I like the fight. I think it makes sense. I like it.
In a way, is it a good fight for Bisping to go out on? Like, Rashad has just looked terrible.
He's looked fairly poor.
4-fight losing streak.
Yeah, and for Rashad, when you think about it, it's also him not going in there against a really young, athletic guy who might starch him. Michael Bisping could, but you know, they're good. It's a good match. It's almost like, you don't want to say Legends division, because that's what you brought up, I think, last week. You don't want to say that because Michael Bisping was just
champion a couple of months ago.
But they're two veterans. It makes sense to match up, for me anyway.
No, it does, and like it's probably both of theirs swan song.
Possibly. I think a lot of people would have said that Rashad could have been, and they're both analysts on the.
That's what I was going to say. I think that that would make great TV as well, leading up to the fight, if they were actually kept them at the same desk and they were doing the fights. But it makes sense. I think just by recent activity, although Bisping is coming off a heavy defeat to Kelvin Gastelum and getting choked out by GSP, I still favour him. I think he's been fighting
I favour him slightly,
higher caliber
Rashad's
guys.
off 2 or 3 losses as well, isn't he?
4 losses.
4 losses.
Four losses.
Wow.
So,
far from grace.
Big time.
Yeah. And here we go. Here's the one that Noel didn't want to say. Manager Ali Abdelaziz hinted that his client Khabib Nurmagomedov might be close to retirement. In an interview with TMZ, he said, quote, "We're going to beat Tony. We're going to stop Tony in 3 rounds. Khabib's probably going to retire undefeated because he's going to beat Conor, he's going to beat Tony, and he's probably going to say bye-bye."
So 3 fights.
3 fights. So what's your thoughts on Khabib possibly nearing retirement?
I think it's a weird one for a man. Like, he's coming back from injuries and he has his weight cut issues and stuff like that. So it'd be interesting. I wonder why is it just talk? Is it to get the Conor fight that they want to do this? I don't know. I don't know how to take it. Like, again, we've always said this. I don't like when a fighter starts talking about retirement. And especially Khabib is young. Like, what age is Khabib?
Well, to be fair, he hasn't spoke about retirement. It's his manager.
Yeah.
He was a little bit shady.
Yeah.
Ali.
But I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
First reactions to it, I don't like it. He's got a very tough fight in front of him, Tony Ferguson. We again spoke about this in the live chat there during the week, when it came up about the fight. We're like, don't sleep on Tony Ferguson. Like, if people think Khabib could just walk through him, like, and do what he done against Edinson Barboza, but I don't sleep on Tony's ground game or his unpredictable strikes. As I said, like, he throws stuff that I don't think he even knows what he's throwing when he's throwing it. So, you know, he's looking for 3 fights down the line there. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend that.
No, either would I. Ali Abdelaziz is a little bit shady.
Twice you've said that. Why is he shady?
Yeah, he's just Google him. Look, as Eddie Bravo would say, look it up.
Look it up.
What? Google it. Some of the stuff he said, he apparently takes over his fighter's social media and writes stuff up and all this weird stuff. He's a little bit like that. But so I wouldn't really believe what he says. But if that is true, it's a little bit disappointing to think that maybe in 3 fights Khabib won't fight, and maybe it'll take about 6 years for Khabib to get them 3 fights based on his resume.
That's very true.
But you also have to take into account the amount of fights that Khabib has had. We kind of think of Khabib as the guy in the UFC, but he's been fighting since 2008. He has 25 fights, 25 now. So he has been fighting a long time, but still, it is a little bit disappointing considering. Even though he's had a lot of injuries, he hasn't really been hurt that much.
Could be also laying the groundwork, planting the seed that if he does beat Tony,
contract, that makes sense.
Professional Fighters League, formerly World Series of Fighting, has inked even a broadcast deal with NBC Sports Network and Facebook for international distribution rights. The first event is on June 7th. So this is Ray Safo's company. So are we going to watch it? Is it going to be NBC Sports Network? You can get it on the Dodgy Stream, folks, or Facebook International. So are they going to be showing live events via Facebook Live?
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like it's going to be a Facebook Live thing. I'll watch it if it's there. If it's ready, available at a decent time, I'll watch it. The only thing I will say is a lot of the better guys from...
Why at a decent time?
What?
You said if it's available and you'll watch it at a decent time. You watch UFC at ridiculous times.
I was going to make my next point.
Oh, right.
The reason why I say at a decent time and if it's ready, available is because they've lost a lot of the best guys, and there's only so much, even though we're completely embedded, excuse the pun, I suppose, with the UFC embedded, we're completely embedded in MMA. There's only so much MMA that we can watch. Like, I'll watch regional MMA, I'll watch Bellator, I'll watch the UFC, which they've had probably sometimes 2 events a week. It's a lot of MMA. I have a girlfriend, so,
So that's Rob squashing the gay rumours right there. He has a girlfriend. You're right, it is. But like the funny thing is, like if a big star was to come up through or somebody that
exactly.
Catch it right.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, if you're at home, you come home in the pub, you've had a few beers, and it's on.
It's on.
I'll watch it. But as well, if it's on Facebook, you know the way, like for example, let me think of a show recently, CRC 7 Annihilation. If you go onto their Facebook page, you can see the old stream that was from Sunday 2 weeks ago. I believe there was 2 fantastic commentators on duty that day. But
it wasn't me.
It wasn't Rob.
It sounded like it was a compliment.
But
compliment themselves.
yeah, you can go back and you can watch it. That's the thing with Facebook Live. They normally keep the videos up live and they just upload them and you can go back and watch it. So if that's the case, if you're bored, you can watch a little bit of MMA. Yeah,
as far I remember reading about PFL a long time ago. It's like a tournament structure ish, which
was this a thought where he was talking about paying the fighters
salary and stuff? I can't remember the exact specifics. We'll have to Google it and maybe talk about it another time.
Let's just talk absolute rumours and
they're going to pay them loads of money, and there's going to be so many UFC guys moving over, and it's going to be brilliant.
World Series of Fighting used to have decent fights, in fairness.
No, they did, but that was also when Justin Gaethje was there, and
pretty true.
A lot of other guys. There was another MMA event on the weekend. Bellator 193 went down last Friday night, and it was tour time lucky for Lorenz Larkin, who finally got his first Bellator victory. He won in a convincing decision over Fernando Gonzalez in the main event, and in the co-main event, Sad Awad earned his 10th win under the Bellator banner with a unanimous decision over JJ Ambrose. Did you see the fight, and what did you think of his win?
Yeah, Larkin. All day. But what I found interesting about Lorenz Larkin was he came out about Paul Daly and was like, you promised me a rematch. Don't go leaving the promotion before we get that rematch. So, as we talked about on Friday night, Paul Daly, will that happen? He's even talked about the UFC. If they came fishing for him, you'd sign. But like Lorenz Larkin, it was the famous going over to Bellator, and he's dropped 2 in Bellator. So there's a lot of pressure on him here. Considered at one time one of the best at his weight class to, he was 2-0 and wasn't looking good for him in his new home.
Yeah, it was funny with Lorenz Larkin. For me, not funny, but it was interesting to think that he was kind of the guy that moved over, even more so than Rory McDonald, who had some kind of momentum behind him. Now, Rory, because of the fighter that he is, because of where he's been, he's fought for a UFC title and that, but he's always going to have momentum in a certain way. But Lorenz Larkin went over with a 2-fight win streak and probably looking the best he's had in his career.
Over Masvidal and Magny. So
exactly, two good wins, and he was probably getting up there for a number 1 contendership fight in the UFC. So when he made the move to Bellator, he was on a run.
In fairness, though, when he went over there, the 2 losses in Bellator, you have to be realistic as well. They were to Douglas Lima and Paul Daly.
Two excellent fighters.
Yeah, so it's not like he went over and fought a lesser caliber fighter.
Yeah, that's very, very true. But it's just interesting to see that he was on such a high, and now if you look at him, apart from, he got this good win, so he's back up there, but he kind of went from such a high to almost a low.
The interesting one to do next one. What's next? Is it Douglas Lima?
I'd love to see a Paul Daly rematch, because that was a very, very good fight.
Well, it looks like Daly wants out.
Yeah, it looks like Daly wants out, so we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I think the thing with Lorenz Larkin is he has a name, so he's not far from a title shot. He's really not far from a title shot. So, there's a phone.
There's a phone.
Can you turn it off
for zero reason?
It's over. Yeah, he's close to a title fight. I doubt he's going to get a title fight, so maybe a Douglas Lehman rematch. Makes sense.
Yeah, that was your quick fire news.